Hello and welcome to episode 40 of the Championship Rounds podcast. A big week this week. So we've essentially got two preview shows, a lot of midweek action. So we'll get straight into it. On Wednesday, we'll start. Keith Thurman returns to the ring for the first time in over 3 years. To fight Brock Jarvis in Sydney. A really, really weird fight, but with the context of Thurman fighting Zoo, I guess it sort of makes sense. But yeah, this is a pretty big mismatch for me. I don't know about you, Zoo.
I mean, this kind of sums up both of their careers, to be honest. What even is this fight? Well, Thurman hasn't fought in 12 years. Brock Jarvis is not a junior middleweight. He's been moving up 27 weights every year. Yeah, it should be a mismatch. He should stop Brock Jarvis. I mean, look at what Liam Parra did to him.
It should end.
I mean,
look, Thurman hasn't had like a knockout in a long time, but this is Brock Jarvis.
This is a Brock Jarvis who started his career at super flyweight.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
He's not a 154 pounder. He's not a welterweight. He's might be a junior welterweight, maybe.
If that.
And well, obviously Thurman, he's not a 154 pounder. But I mean, he's certainly big enough for the division.
I mean, Thurman hasn't had a stoppage win since 2015. Since Kalaza. Like, it's wild. This whole fight is just weird. I just like Brock Jarvis just isn't good, and he's a big stiff, and he should be getting stopped quite early, like 3 or 4 rounds at the most. Like if Thurman has anything left, this shouldn't go more than 3 or 4 rounds.
I mean, even if he doesn't have anything left, he still should be chinning Brock Jarvis. Like if he doesn't knock Brock Jarvis out in like 3 or 4 rounds, he shouldn't get the Tim Tszyu fight.
Tim Tszyu's got to get through Joey Spencer first.
Oh, Tim Tszyu's gonna kill Joey Spencer. Joey Spencer's terrible. Well, he should.
If he loses to Joey Spencer.
Look, it's just one of those. It's just a fight. That's how it's just a fight. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just a fight.
It's weird.
Yeah. Like both of their careers. Well, Brock Jarvis' whole career and Thurman's career since kind of, I guess, losing to Pacquiao. Even before that, it was weird. He took that long break. I don't know. Maybe but he probably should have just stayed retired. But he's been out the ring a while. Money's running low. Go fight in Australia where they put every single half noble fight on pay-per-view. Sounds good for his bank account.
I mean, it's just weird. It is just weird. Like, there's not really not much to say. Like, yeah, it's just Brock Jarvis, man. He's genuinely terrible. But moving on. Michael Zarafa returns on the undercard against Bessie whoever that is. I've never seen him fight. A German that's only really fought in Germany. And yeah, this is for a WBA sort of trinket belt. Yeah, like there's not much. Like there's that fight. There's Cesar Mateo Tapia, who had the absolute war last time out. He's fighting Sergei Vorobov. Like there's just not much. It's just a lot of like Australian domestic names. Really, there's not a lot on there.
I mean, I think that's a good fight. Like, it's by far the best fight on the card, which isn't saying much, but it should be the most competitive, possibly.
Hopefully there's something good. That Tongo against Kira Ruston. I've not seen either, but they're both unbeaten and both won all of their fights by stoppage, so that might be fun. I don't know. And that's sort of the closest fight in terms of the bookmakers as well. That's quite close. But apart from that, man, there's really not much.
Well, I've seen the Tongo fight, and to be honest, I can't remember how it went.
Yeah. It's crazy. The Australian market, man. The Australian market is so dead. Like pay-per-views for everything relevant. Like, how is this pay-per-view? How? It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Like, it's just a terrible, terrible, terrible pay-per-view card.
And it's not like it's cheap either. I'm pretty sure they're all like 60 Australian dollars.
Which is about £30.
Yeah. That £30. Try putting a pay-per-view in England or the UK for £30, especially one like this.
Hey, like, I think there are like Usyk Fury. I think was $29.99, and that was sort of acceptable because of the like fight it was. But like, man, that's rough. That is. Like what? Yeah, not a brilliant card. There's nothing really on there. But it'd be good to see Furman back, I guess, and like obviously with the Tim Tszyu fight, it's the fight that was meant to be that wasn't to be that led to the sort of downfall of Tim Tszyu. Really, Pandora stepped in, and we all know what's happened since then. So yeah, it's not particularly interesting card, but on Thursday there's an extremely interesting card from Japan, headlined by Kenshiro Teraji against Seigo Yuri Akui, unifying the WBC and WBA flyweight titles. In a fight that I'm really looking forward to, man. Like, flyweight's been a good division, like, the last sort of 18 months or so. And, like, there's a lot of good fighters there. And, yeah, the winner of this is sort of undoubtedly the best in the weight class for me.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that these are the top two. I mean, unfortunately, neither are ranked number 2, so it's not going to be for. Like they are ranked number 2 or 1, but not both at the same time. So no ring or any of that type of stuff. But they're a good case.
To be honest,
they have Ayala number 1, I think.
Yeah, they do. I've got something to say about that.
Why is he number 1?
I asked someone on the ratings panel about this, and they said because they thought Akui lost to Delakian. I was like, that's fair, but that was a close fight. But Angel Ayala blatantly lost to Felix Alvarado, and that wasn't even debatable. That was a far worse robbery, and it just makes you think: do these people actually watch the fights?
Nope.
Yeah, like at least Delakian was like the world champion, so losing to him is better than losing to Felix Alvarado, even though it's Delakian. Maybe it's not. Let's just stop talking about Artem Delakian.
Yeah.
Look, if you're gonna have a rule like that, at least be consistent.
Yeah, that's what I
Like,
said.
just because one was more recent than the other.
But look at
I feel like Kenshiro should be 1 anyway. Rosales, him being Rosales is a better win than him, than like Ayala beating whoever he beat for the title, and then Akui beating Charun Fak and Delaki. Like that's Kenshiro should be 1.
We're forgetting the real number one. Galauyevi.
Oh, brother.
But yeah,
Look,
look,
Fights.
he beat the previous number one, so yeah, he has an
on
argument, I guess.
paper, stopping Jonathan Gonzalez in a round, you know. You know, you know, on paper. But yeah, let's actually get back to this fight because like it's such a good fight. Obviously with Kenshiro, everything's about that jab. Basically, it is essentially the case of if he gets that jab going, you're going to lose, and if he doesn't, you're probably going to have a very good chance of winning. As basic as that is, that's essentially what Kenshiro is all about. Like, if you just look at the numbers for his the Rosales fight and pretty much every fight, the jab numbers are just insane. I'll get the Rosales fight off actually.
Yeah, and the problem is no one can defend the jab.
I feel like we mentioned this every episode.
No one can defend the jab. Okay, very few people can defend the jab. Not that one. Most people can't defend the jab.
Yeah, Akui's isn't bad, but talking about Kenshiro here. So.
He's not going to win a battle of jabs against Kenshiro. He's going to have to. I mean, he's kind of just going to have to do a game plan of go to the body, slow him down, because Kenshiro's going to be boxing. And just trying to pick him off at range because he's faster. And we'll just see if that can work.
It's
I mean,
funny you mentioned.
Look, I think it can. I mean, that footwork could give Akui some trouble, but I mean, Akui, like, he's good, but his style looks more effective than he is because he looks really good when he's coming forward and his pressure looks really good, but it can be misleading. It might not be as effective as it looks.
I think Akui's a very good basic fighter. That makes sense.
He's like Maloney.
Yeah, like there's nothing outstanding. I suppose he's got a nice sort of right hand counter, but like he's just a pretty sort of standard 7 out of 10 in most areas. So like that's got him to this point, but I think his feet are too slow for Kenshiro. To be honest, I'd like if you try and come forward, you're going to eat a few jabs, and Kenshiro's going to spin you and get out. And if Kenshiro puts him on the back foot, like I just think if he gets put on the back foot, I think he's going to get stopped. He has to come forward against Kenshiro. If he doesn't, yeah
but the problem is, like, if he gets put on the back foot, I mean, he has no chance. If he comes forward, he still might not have no chance. Well, more chance, but it's a pretty slim chance if he just gets out of box. I mean, he has to cut off the ring because he's pretty good at cutting off the ring, but sometimes he just doesn't do it and just follows them around. Like he did against Jerome Back.
That chat room fact quiet. This is why I'm leaning towards Kenshiro stopping him. I think it was the 10th or the 11th, certainly late on in the fight. Akui got pretty badly hurt to the body. like in like it was towards the end of the round, and he gets hit with a body shot. And he just sort of leans over, and Charon Fat just pounds the body, and you're like, he might go down there, like watching live. And maybe that's a sign of a sort of tough weight cut. Maybe that's a sign of a weakness to the body. I don't know, but like I think that's a concern for Akui in this fight, because Kenshiro is an excellent body puncher.
Yeah, I mean, he might have the best straight right hand to the body in the sport. I mean, that's one of his best weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably can't be like easy for Akui to make flyweight. I would imagine.
Yeah, he looks solid the way he looks, big, solid. Like he's not exactly a small flyweight.
Like he's not like really tall, but like he's just built big.
Yeah, he's big, so.
Mm.
Hey, yo.
Well, yeah. Anyway, yeah, like I don't know if you've seen the sparring, but it's sort of there's a lot of sparring out there.
Yes, I've seen it.
That's sort of how I see the fight going. Just Kenshiro's jab and Kenshiro coming in and out, and sort of Akui walking forward, having some success. But like,
yeah, I don't think it's going to be one-sided, but I think Kenshiro is going to win it. Pretty clear decision.
Yeah, I think he'll stop Akui. I really do. That body works for me. Like
torn, I don't know what to pick. I feel like Hakui's tough enough. Like Rosales was tough enough, but he got like shattered. So I don't know if Akui could.
Yeah, but Akui's like in his prime, and Rosales is pretty way past his prime.
No, I'm just saying like physical damage more than like actually getting hurt and like dropped and. I'll probably go on both sides. I'll do like a decision with some knockdowns in it.
I think the fact that Kenshiro isn't drained and he can because he wants to move. He doesn't want to just stand there and trade or push someone back. He wants to actually move and box, which is why I'm picking him more by decision.
that's fair. But I think in the second half, like if he builds a lead,
He's gonna put the hurt on him.
yeah, like if he builds a lead in this fight, like I think he'll start sort of standing his ground a bit more and start just and I think he comes out on top, and like he's got to watch out for that right hand coming over the jab. That's a really good shot for Akui, and yeah, that's the one thing I'd worry about if I was Kenshiro. But like, move to your right.
I mean, it's a pretty big worry to be honest, because he does always bring his jab back low.
Yeah,
and it's not the fastest jab; it's just really good timed. And if you time that jab, you can get away with the top, like Canizales did.
Yeah.
Like if he does get confident, really confident, and sticks it on him and pushes him back, yeah, it might be over for Akui. Might be over in like round 9. But I just think Akui has to, like Kenshiro, to not move for him to have a chance.
That's not gonna happen.
And especially with him not being drained, like we saw that he can move for all the fight. We've already seen it. And I can't see him not being able to move and fight his fight.
It's gonna be really interesting. Like, just the sort of political landscape at flyweight. Obviously Kenshiro, if he comes through this, might have to fight Yafai or Rodriguez if they ever make that fight. But there's another fight on this card between two guys that Kenshiro has already stopped. Anthony Olasquaga defends his WBO title against Hiroto Kiyoguchi in a fight that I think is going to be a war.
I mean, it can't be anything else, can it? It just can't be. If this ends up being a bad fight, I mean, I don't even know. I just don't know boxing. If this ends up being a bad fight,
I counter that with Olasquaga could just run him over. I don't think he will, but there's a sort of possibility that he might just run him over. I don't think he will though.
I mean, he could. He could. Well, I mean, well, we've seen Kiyoguchi at flyweight already, and like it doesn't look too promising for him in this fight. Is all I'm gonna say. Like, I think he's gonna have some success, but I can't see him winning. Outside of like, I don't know, we get a big shot maybe. I mean, he did have one of the best uppercuts in the sport. I mean, he's a really good offensive fighter, but which is not much defense. And he's past his prime, and he's not at his best weight.
Yeah.
And Olasquaga might be entering his prime. And a big guy punches hard. I think late stoppage maybe.
That's what I was thinking. Like 8 or not, like 8 through 10. Around
I just look at it like Olasquaga is just way too big, way too strong. Like you can have it will be sort of a war for the first 3 or 4 rounds, and then it will sort of slip into sort of Olasquaga just beating him up. Because Kiyoguchi is just going to be outgunned. He's going to be out, like, just the pace will be too much. If he fights like he did against Perez in the third fight, he is going to get his head taken off quite early.
He has no choice. That's how he fights. He can't fight any other way.
Yeah, but like, there's fighting like Kiyoguchi and there's fighting like reckless Kiyoguchi. He was just totally reckless in that fight. Like, he wasn't the normal Kiyoguchi. I don't think anyway.
Maybe the normal Kiyoguchi is gone, and this is the Kiyoguchi we have.
Yeah, and like that's sort of what I was saying. There's a possibility that he just gets ran over.
Like maybe he's the normal Kiyoguchi for a couple rounds, and then he just revert to the star that we've seen now. And then it's going to be a war for a bit, and then he's just getting broken down by taking all these punches, and then, you know, I guess you just can't take that so many punches from a guy that punches so hard.
Yeah,
like 11th round, maybe somewhere around there.
I think it'll be a bit earlier. I think it'll be about 6 or 7, to be honest.
I think he can last, but I didn't think he'd chin Riku Kano that early either. So
yeah, or Bomba.
Yeah.
Come and see me, Bomba. Come and see me. Stop tweeting me and come and see me. Yeah, it's literally just a size thing and a youth thing. Like, there's one fighter who's big and strong at the weight and is coming to his prime, like you said. One fighter's on the slide, isn't really a flyweight. Yeah, it'll be fun to watch, but I can just see it turn into a beating. And like, yeah, it'll be fun to watch until it turns that way.
This fight to me reminds me of like, this is like Kiyoguchi fighting a prime Kiyoguchi, to be honest, because they're both whirlwind offensive fighters.
Yeah. But that
And
prime Kikuchi is a flyweight and not a light flyweight / minimum weight.
yeah. And like, would this Kikuchi be a prime Kikuchi? No. He'd get like lead uppercut to death.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. It won't be fun for him. It
It'll be
won't
fun
be
for
fun.
us
Yeah,
while it lasts. I mean,
yeah.
I like Kikuchi. I don't really want to see him get beat up too bad. So if he's getting beat up, I hope the ref does the right thing. Or his corner.
He's
You don't
cornered
really
him.
see. You
It's
don't
Japan.
see many or any corner stoppages in Japanese fighters.
Yeah, it's Japan. They don't pull the guys out. They'll leave them in. But yeah, it will be a very fun fight, and it's sort of weird because at flyweight, obviously you've got that fight, and then you've got Ayala against Ibuki in when is that? 3 weeks,
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks. We could end up in a situation where Kenshiro holds KO wins over the other two champions at the weight, which would be interesting. I'd like to see in that scenario Kenshiro fight Ibuki because they're 1-on-1. But
Trilogy.
yeah, like that. I just think that fight's the fight to make, really, if they will come through.
Yeah, but I kind of want to see Kenshiro against a flyweight or a squad because he was never a light flyweight. He moved down for that.
Yeah.
Well, if he fights Ibuki and beats him, he can fight all squad.
Undisputed fight. It's like there's a really good mix of flyweights. You've got Galao fight coming through as well. Yankel Rivera there, Ricardo Sandoval. It's a really good division. There's like a lot of good fights to be made.
And they're all going to fight each other.
Yeah. Well, they're all going to fight each other apart from maybe one who's stuck on a certain promoter's shows. He doesn't actually know about the division. But that's another story.
Well, look, maybe it'll be different.
I hope so. Yeah. Third fight on this show, Shikichi Iwata defends his WBO light flyweight title against Rene Santiago. Santiago is really not very good. He's just average.
I mean, I don't think he's like too bad.
I just don't rate him at all.
I mean, it's not like Iwata isn't crazy himself. I do think Iwata's good, but I definitely do overrate him, and I know I do.
I think he's a big stiff idiot, if I'm being honest.
Well, that's fine. Who don't you think is a big stiff idiot?
Kenshiro. But Iwata, like he's flat-footed, but he can punch a bit,
Yeah,
and that bails him out. That bails him out, man.
I mean, Santiago, like most people, I guess, most fighters, he's a good offensive fighter with no defense. He's probably going to get stopped.
Yep.
I mean, not that he won't give it a go. I mean, Puerto Ricans do always give it a go. They're not. I mean,
one.
Well, Bomba is a EDO.
We're gonna give him some. I'm gonna give him some credit here because in the Iwata fight, he kept Iwata moving, and Iwata couldn't set his feet, and he picked him off. And that's the only way you can beat Iwata really at this weight because Iwata's huge for the weight and he punches hard. And I just think Santiago is going to run into something. And probably get stopped. Like that's why I thought Noriega would have some success against Iwata because Noriega can move.
Yeah, and he decided to not do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And he got chinned.
And Santiago doesn't move.
Yeah.
Like he does try to keep it long, but he doesn't move. Like just take small steps around or just follow his opponent.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like, it's a mandatory defense. This is his first offense. Yeah, it's his first offense.
I mean,
And
it's not terrible. It's not
Yeah.
terrible.
Rosa's not going to leave them in the car. And Penya's rematching Canizales. Like, there's nothing else going on. Who else are you going to fight at light flyweight? Like, it's one of those ones, really. It's an okay fight. Like, it's an okay fight, but I'm just not interested, if that makes any sense. Like, I'll watch it, it'll be fun, but it's not a fight that I'm like sat there like, oh yeah, I really want to see this. Like, it's just what it is.
I mean, I'm kind of intrigued. I mean, it has potential to be a good fight, but I don't think it will be one. He can punch. I mean, he's lost to a couple good fights. I mean, he did lose to Bomber himself, didn't he?
That was a close fight. I think.
Yeah, it was close. Yeah.
Like, the scorecards really don't reflect that fight. You can easily get to Santiago. Live, I had it a draw.
I think one of them reflects it a lot better. The 7-5 one reflects it a lot better. And look, I don't look into him losing to Udo Reyes because he should never been fighting at minimum weight.
Yeah, and then there's a few 6-rounders sort of years and years ago, which are, whatever. But yeah, it's like, as you said, it should be okay, I guess. But like,
it's a good fight on an undercard.
Yeah.
Good undercard fight of a very good card.
Yep. Yep.
And we will be there.
We will be there.
Yes, we will.
There's one more fight on this card. Tomoya Tsuboy turning professional, who's an extremely good amateur, won gold at the World Championships. If you actually look at his World Championship one in 2021, I think it was, he beat some really good fighters. Mahmoud Sabekhan and Bilal Benalma in that championships. Like, he beat some really good fighters in Serbia. And I don't know, he's probably leaving it a little bit too late to turn pro as a flyweight at 28, but he could be quite interesting. He's fighting an 8-rounder against Ty, and these Ties usually fall down quite easily. So I expect a quite quick stoppage there, especially if it's going to do anything. But yeah, that's on Thursday.
It will be shown, considering it starts at like 8 a.m. That fight's going to be shown.
Yeah, they're getting better. And that's on Sky in the UK and ESPN Plus in the States. So yeah, there's no excuse to not watch it.
Or Unix for any Japanese people watching.
It's on Unext. Good old Unext.
That we can't bloody get. Well, we can, but it's very long.
Yeah, you have to buy gift cards and all that game. It's good.
Any Japanese person listening, drop me a phone number I can use.
Anyway, this weekend, what happened? Joey Gonzalez beat Arnold Kugai. Me and Taj both got this wrong.
The guy is so bad.
He just couldn't handle the pressure.
Look, I didn't get it wrong, but no one knows that because I was away, busy, when you two were talking about it.
He just... I'm surprised he didn't get more points deducted for holding.
Look, the thing with Joat, even though he's been out for so long, he just doesn't lose to people who aren't world level. Like, he's like one of boxing's best gatekeepers. He's going to lose to people who are world level, and he's going to beat the rest of them. Yeah. Arnold Kugai is not world level. Although he did give Fulton a pretty close fight. That was closer than the scorecards said as well. Well, it was a good fight.
Yeah, he just
Like Kagai had a good
it was
start.
okay.
Like he had a good start, and then he just like completely just gassed. Just couldn't keep up the pace. You know, Joey does what he does.
That was 12 rounds. I don't know. I don't know if he would have made it.
That card for Kagai, by the way, was terrible.
Yeah.
It was just so bad. Like, yeah, but Joey Gonzalez back in the mix. Like, Jesus, 4-time title challenger. He's probably gonna get a title shot after this.
Obviously, he's on Pro Box.
Will be a prediction. He'll fight someone for the vacant WBO when Espinoza eventually moves up, because Espinoza's moving up. I just had a thought, actually.
He's gonna fight Robeisy Ramirez for the vacant WBO title.
Joey Gonzalez against the new for the vacant WBO title.
That's enough.
No, brilliant.
Oh,
Yeah, then Inoue and Nick Ball in a unification.
and this is a slight deviation from the point, but I don't know why Inoue is holding out at super bantamweight. Like, he can beat a lot of these featherweight guys, man.
Well, we just have to see the MJ fight. They've been way too much like talk and build up around that. We have to see it.
I just don't care about it, man. He's gonna beat up MJ and stop him to the body.
Well, that's fine. That's good. That can put to bed that whole saga.
Yeah. Yeah. Also on that Pro Box card, Nicholas Walters. It's the end. We thought it was the end when he didn't fight for about 8 years. Now it is the end. Retired against Luis Torres Valenzuela. Tried to quit in the third round, but then quit in the corner.
I don't even know. I mean, he wasn't even fighting bad, and he was having his best like round, and then he just got hurt. Then went in the corner, then retired in his corner. I don't know. I mean, he didn't even look bad in the fight. Then he just got hurt, and it's like, yep, oh, that's it. I'm done. Back to being a ghost again.
Hopefully, he stays.
Yeah,
I don't wait years for him to fight again. He's already damn near 40.
Well, I guess he thought, yes, give it one last go. Didn't have it. That's fine.
Need to have a discussion about Adorno.
Well,
Adorno is just not very good, man.
What are you doing? Losing damn near every round to that. This is nasty.
It's just, yeah, he's retire. On Friday in Brighton, I don't know why the hell this fight is. he's on the list. But, Harlem Eubank batters Tyrone McKenna. Drops him 3 or 4 times, something like that. I think it was 4.
well, I'll tell you why it's on there. Because you put it there.
That's a good point. But yeah, Harlem Eubank's not very good. Tyrone McKenna should finish. Dylan Moran, sort yourself out. Mick Conlan's come back. Dunk it out over 8 rounds. Not very good. He's done. He's finished. They announced that he's going to fight the European champion Cristobal Lorente at featherweight, which is a stupid idea. Conlan moving to featherweight at this point against a good fighter in Lorente, he's just going to get chinned. He's going to get beaten up and chinned. He's finished. Mick Conlan is finished, and he shouldn't be in the ring. He's going to get beat.
Lorente beat Grandelli last time I heard.
Yeah, and he beat Mara Forte as well.
Yes. Better than anything Conlon's done this decade.
Like, yeah, I start. Conlon's just done, man. He's just done.
Like, I mean, he didn't even look like that bad. He just can't punch.
And he got marked up though, like
Yeah, he did. His eye wasn't great, was it?
like against somebody that's not very good. That yeah, against the good fighter in his prime. Not anything special in the ring. He's a solid European level guy. Not much else, but like especially at featherweight, yeah, like you're getting chinned. And to finish out the show, Dan Tarwood. Um, Dan Tarwood, um, hyped up prospect by a lot of people. It's weird, like because you watch him and you don't really see that much special. He's knocking over guys that are not very good. And Muzamiru Kikande comes along. Towered has some early success, but then he just gets hurt at the end of the fourth and badly stopped in the fifth. And like, man, I just don't get it with these prospects. I'd like, there was nothing special about him. I don't understand why every single prospect has to be like some elite level fighter. Like Toward wasn't an elite amateur. He wasn't a brilliant amateur. He hasn't looked good in the pros. Like what?
They just set him up to fail every time.
Like
They make
I just
the confidence boost, and then they get chinned by someone they should not be getting chinned by.
I see all the time like these prospects. I just think there's a talent issue in the UK, and I think a lot of people in British boxing only really watch British boxing at that sort of level. They don't really understand. Like they think everything's the next best thing, and sort of an ABA title, like the national title thing as an amateur is messed up. I could go on about this for hours, man. Like national titles don't mean that like you've won like a title that means you're the best in Britain. They just mean it's open. So you can be a 25 times national champion and not actually beat anyone. You've got guys coming through that are just selling tickets and thinking they're good. You've got the amateur system in the UK doesn't teach you how to fight as a pro. You can't punch. It's like defensively, it's not brilliant because like I just don't think these guys are that good. Like the best thing Moses Atalma has ever done is get away from the amateur scene as soon as possible. It just teaches you bad habits in this country, man. It's not a good system for producing top level pros, and evidently, if they're going by the Olympics, it's not a good system for producing top level amateurs either. Like something needs to change because there's a distinct lack of talent in this country, and it's getting really really bad.
They get them too used to fighting in a certain style that just obviously does not work in a professional setting.
But it will work when you're fighting journeymen that aren't throwing punches at you, and they're literally there.
Even sometimes it won't work, even
Yeah.
against those journeymen.
Like, I'm sorry, you can't have 4 or 5 fights against people that aren't going to throw a punch at you, and then go in against that guy. That's essentially what Dan Tower's done. He's had 4 or 5 fights against punching bags, and then gone in with somebody that's actually there to win, is big and he's strong, and can punch a bit, and he's got iced. And it happens time and time again. And like it's just it teaches you to be lethargic in the ring. It teaches you not to throw punches properly. It's just, and there's a reason why like we're not producing top level professionals at a high rate like we used to do. Even fighters like I know sort of that there was a lot of like mick taken around sort of people like Ricky Burns and people like Lee Selby, people like I don't know, Terry Flanagan, Anthony Corolla. They weren't elite guys, but they were good level professionals because they actually like. It's just changed the system. It's just changing the system. Darren Barker won a world title. Like, it's just not. We ain't got anyone. We ain't got anyone like that anymore, and it's bad. There's a distinct lack of talent in this country, and a lack of good coaching.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty over
Like, yeah, what when your biggest fight of the year is Johnny Fisher against Dave Allen, there's a problem.
there.
No, but there is though, and like that's like one of the marquee headliners this year. And like you look at the other marquee headliners, Joe Joyce, 40 odd years old, Kakashi and Wood, both like late 30s, both not interested in fighting the top level opposition. Josh Taylor, mid 30s, Echo Esserman, mid 30s. What other headliners we got? Liam Cameron, mid 30s, against the so-called second coming, Ben Whittaker, who he beat the first time. Again, like you think Ben Whittaker's got a pro style, like he just hasn't. Like it's just a poor level. It happens time and time again, and you'll keep seeing it because nobody's actually bothered. They can roll you out 3 or 4 times a year, just get you selling three or 400 tickets, and they're fine because they're turning the profit on you. There's no incentive to develop good fighters, and if you do develop a good fighter, he'll be shipped off to Saudi anyway. So just like, what's going on?
Right off that Saudi prelim.
See, I mean, this is why I don't really watch amateur boxing outside of the Olympics and World Championships. I don't like the style that they fight. Don't like the amateur style.
It's a British issue. I'm telling you, it's a British issue because everyone else can produce good like pros from the amateurs.
Yeah, but like,
can.
you see, like even like the Cubans like hate the style that they fight in the amateurs. All the top amateurs, they fight the same, and I hate it. That's why we have to see them transition to a pro style. I just hate the style. That flashy in and out stuff, you know, that Andy Cruz doesn't. And I was actually fighting a pro style, holding his feet, putting power into his punches. I just don't like the style.
There's a few guys coming through in the amateurs that are going to be very good pros, and I think the style is slightly changing. But man, like,
you know, there's people that have like pro styles. I mean, like Alawi fight, he didn't have an amateur style; he had a pro style fighting in the amateurs. And I guess, you know, that's why he's one of our most successful ones in recent times.
yeah. I mean, yeah. It says something when your marquee heavyweight that was on GB for well over a decade gets iced and around by a fighter with a few white collar fights.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not good. It's really not good. But anyway.
But then again, I mean, it's heavyweight. That can happen to anyone. Will be worse if it's a lower weight file. You know. Anyway, tangent. You know, there is a guy at Eubank who is actually a welterweight. Maybe Conor Ben should have fought Harlem Eubank instead.
Harlem Eubank would beat him, even though Harlem Eubank's not very good.
Well, I mean, that was a good performance from Harlem Eubank. I mean, he hasn't like put his punches or a good performance like that together in a long time. Right, probably since he iced what's his face? Bloody hell, I completely forgot his name.
I'll check what's right.
What's his name?
I've watched so much Harlem Eubank that I just like Ismail Ellis, maybe.
Nope.
Died.
Yeah, Machador, there we go. There's the iced Machador.
That was almost 3 years ago.
Yeah, and he absolutely cleaned him out.
That was on a show that Linus got robbed against Denzel Bentley, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I just think he had him ready to go multiple times, and he sort of spoiled his punches. He fell in a lot, and like he had him hurt McKenna, and then he just wouldn't throw a punch for 3 or 4, like 30 or 40 seconds. Like, yeah, it's just.
And I guess that sums up Eubank, because it wasn't like a perfect performance, and it was still a good performance from him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I picked him by decision. I mean, he hasn't done anything like that in a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, he looks better at 147. Even
Yeah,
though
he
that
does.
that last fight was terrible. That fight last year, 8 round, but Jesus Christ.
Brilliant.
But yeah, he'll be fine, man. Eubank, just get him active. But he can't get active because Channel 5 put on about one show a year because Wassam are pathetic. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. British boxing is in a weird place right now.
It's not going to get better.
Yeah, it's depressing. But anyway, that's been the show this week or today. We'll have another show on Thursday. We'll review the fights on Wednesday and Thursday, the Furman card and the Kenshiro against the Akui card. And then we'll preview the weekend's action. Nick Ball is fighting TJ Dehenny for some reason.
Yeah, it's Frank's last fight on TNT.
Yeah, the end of an era. Man. It's weird, man. It's weird. It's a weird time for boxing, especially in the UK. But yeah.
Now all we got left is Ben on Sky for not long, it seems, and Sauerland's on Channel 5 once a year.
That's the wrong name. It's Suerlands for some of the stuff they put on. Jesus. Yeah, man, it's a weird time. Yeah, that was episode 40. We've somehow made it to 40. And yeah, thank you for listening.
See you in episode 41.